How did I get here? Before I was even old enough to understand the world around me, my family had already fallen apart. My parents were married before I was born, but by the time I was only 8 months old, they were divorced. Their paths in life couldn't have been more different. My mother lived her life in the fast lane, moving from one reckless decision to another, while my father took a much slower approach. He became a Jehovah's Witness early on, grounding himself in his faith and structured beliefs. I always felt like my mother didn't like me. She wasn't the nurturing, warm mother that little girls dream of having. Instead, she was harsh, verbally abusive, and distant. Her love felt like something I had to earn but never quite could. When my brother came along 6 years after me, I watched as she moved through life with the same reckless abandon, with a different man by her side. She had many boyfriends, most of whom were no better than the last. Some were indifferent, others were violent. I was exposed to drugs and abuse at an age when most children were learning how to read and write. My world was chaotic, filled with instability, fear, and longing for something more. Despite everything, my father remained a steady presence in my life. He would take me to school, spend weekends with me, and even pop up unexpectedly just to check in on me. I cherished those moments. I would cry hysterically when he had to take me back to my mother's house, never understanding why I couldn't just stay with him forever. He remarried 3 times. Wife number 2 didn't care for me much, which meant weekends with him often turned into weekends with my grandmother. But even with that distance, he never stopped being present in my life. Living with my mother meant facing unimaginable situations. I witnessed things that no child should ever have to see. Every day was a battle for survival, and the one thing I never felt in my mother's house was love. I felt like a burden, an afterthought in her whirlwind of destructive choices.